Hey, this is Rob, and you're listening to the Hidden Destination podcast. If you hear screaming in the background, there's some kids playing at the playground adjacent to my campsite, so that's what that is. So today is 8/27, August 27th, 2024, and I'll be recapping yesterday's ride on the 26th. So yesterday I rode from Woodlands Trail Resort to Akeley City Park Campground. It was just about 60 miles-ish. Ended up being a little bit shorter than anticipated. I took a very auspicious detour route that proved to be quite favorable in multiple ways that I'll get into. But yeah, it was under 1,000 feet of climbing, which was a nice change. About 20 miles of my route was on rail trail. I was following the Heartland State Trail up to Akeley, which was very pleasant, very, very pleasant. And the roads coming out of the Woodlands Strawberry Lake area were pretty flat. Heading through the Tamarack National Wildlife Refuge was a bit hilly, and that's where I basically hit all my elevation. But it was a little bit shorter route distance-wise yesterday than fully anticipated. I was the adventure cycling route so has you traveling in sort of a circuitous route that crosses through a resupply town if needed. So I was traveling due east from Strawberry Lake to Park Rapids, which is one of the towns that you pass through before hitting the rail trail, and then cutting north east towards Akeley. And the adventure cycling route has you basically going north for quite a bit and then east through two inlets, State Forest and the town of Two Inlets, and then dropping back down south again to Park Rapids. Whereas I was following this quiet secondary road, super quiet rural back road, that if I just continued east on it, from what I could tell on the map, then I would just basically run into Park Rapids without having to take one of the state highways north and then another highway back south again. So I was like, that seems to make the most sense. And I also passed through a little town called Osage, which was a good place to grab some water. So I did that, and it was good. It was super quiet, super scenic roads. Ended up making the most sense. I stopped in the town of Osage, which had a little gas station that I grabbed a cup of coffee. It was about 1 o'clock or so, and met Chuck, who was a 96-year-old local, super hard of hearing, but he came up to me and asked about the travels, and just a really sweet old man. We got to chatting for a bit. He, as I put on my Instagram, he gave me a Werther's Original, pulled it out of his pocket and said, "I don't know if your grandfather ever gave you these, but here's a Werther's Original." So he's clearly associating the Werther's Original candy with old people. And yeah, I have yet to eat that piece of candy. But that was a nice little encounter. I took a picture with him. Oh yeah, the prior to that, while I was passing through, oh, what town was that? I believe it was Ponsford. Yeah, passing through the little town of Ponsford, if you can even call it a town. And that was my first experience deploying my bear mace. I knew it would come in handy at some point, and sure enough, yesterday was the day. So I was cruising through this little town. Like I said, I wouldn't even call it a town. There was probably like 4 houses. There was a post office that I stopped in to try to get some more water, and the postal worker was like, "Oh, we can't drink the water here. It's bad." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Do you have any water bottles or anything like that, like bottled water?" He's like, "No, sorry." So I left defeated. Left the post office defeated. But yeah, so I jumped back on my bike. And just before getting out of town, there was a house where there were 2 dogs that just started barking and running towards the road. So I sort of grabbed the bear mace out of my holster and got it ready to go. And one of the dogs was a bit more sheepish than the other and sort of hung out barking by the roadway, and then the other one, the sort of nasty pit bull, started chasing me down the street. And so I had the bear mace ready, and I picked up my pace a little bit. He kept barking, showing his teeth, getting pretty close to me. And so I waited until it was quite windy that day, and I didn't want to blast myself. So I waited till he was sort of downwind from me, and held it in my right hand, sort of facing behind me, and gave him a direct blast to the face, and it worked. Sure enough, he just sort of the angry, aggressive pit bull face of his just turned to a defeated, sheepish, calm face, and not calm, more like, just a very, very like defeated, surprised. Yes, that was the look on his face. It was very, very dumb and surprised. And he immediately stopped chasing me and stopped and ran back home. And I could hear in the distance the owner yelling out to the dogs. So I was like, I should probably get out of here just in case the dog runs back and they realize that his face is covered in bear mace. So that was interesting, and I'm glad I have it. And if anybody's wondering, bear mace is yellow. It comes out in this giant yellow cloud. So that was cool. But yeah, that was pretty much the highlight from the day. Outside of Osage, the state highway was closed, but the construction workers let me pass through, so I basically had 10 miles of fresh tarmac with 0 traffic, which was incredible. Did a little bit of a resupply in blanking on the town, Park Rapids. There's a Walmart there, grabbed some stuff, hit up the rail trail for another 20 miles or so into Akeley, and made it into Akeley. which has an amazing city campground. I'm standing on the lake right now. It's on 11th Crow Wing Lake. I got my own dock. There's restrooms, showers, just a great facility. I met Carrie, who's the campground sort of manager, and she is awesome. Her and her husband, Eric, run the place. Eric's also a firefighter in Fargo, North Dakota. So we got to chatting when I was checking in, just about sort of her experience here, and she was on the phone with her husband Eric when I was checking in, and Eric was actually in Boston at a convention for the firefighters union, and he was in Seaport, which, as many listeners know, that's where I worked for 4 years in Boston. And so we were chatting about sort of what he was up to there. He's going to a Red Sox game, and went to Harpoon. I recommended going to Trillium and just some other places to explore in Seaport, because that was my neck of the woods. So that was cool. Eric was a nice guy. I kind of hijacked the conversation, but Carrie was also just such a wonderful woman, and works really hard at maintaining this campsite on behalf of the city of Akeley. So it was cool. It was a good day, and yeah, ate some dinner. A little rain came in, interrupted my dinner. But other than that, stayed pretty dry for the night, which was good. And I have so many miles in the bank right now before meeting Claire in St. Cloud on Friday that I'm going to be able to take it easy, which is amazing. So not 100% sure where I'm staying tonight, but there's plenty of options outside of Walker, and I don't need to pack in the miles today, so that's a good feeling. And I can basically average under 40 miles for the next couple days to make it into St. Cloud by the time I see Claire. So yay for that. Yay for miles in the bank. And I think that'll do it. So from Akeley, until next time, ta-ta.